Hello, I'm Kennedy. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the Oresteia, which is a trilogy of plays. It's written by Aeschylus. It's a trilogy of the first one is Agamemnon, the second play is The Libation Bearers, and the third is Eumenides. It's written by Aeschylus in the 5th century BC, around 458 BCE is when it was first performed. The main focuses of the plays are the murder of Agamemnon by Clytemnestra, his wife, and then the murder of Clytemnestra by Orestes, their son, the trial of Orestes, and then the end of the curse on the house of Atreus, which is the family of Agamemnon. The plays show interaction between the characters and the gods. It's a mythology Greek play. Well, a trilogy of 3 plays, but so some fun facts are that it was the last work of Aeschylus, and then it was also the only complete trilogy of Greek drama. It's also similar to Oedipus Rex and that series of plays, but this is the only complete trilogy. So Aeschylus was a little bit about the playwright was lived from 525 BC to 456 BCE. He was an Athens dramatist of tragedy. He was raised in a rough time when Athenian democracy threw off its tyranny and was proving itself against politicians and invaders. He fought specifically against the invasion by the Persians. He participated in Athens' drama competition, Great Dionysia is what it was called. And he wrote about 90 plays, satires, and tragedies. It was a mix of both of those. He was known as, according to Flavius Philostratus, as the father of tragedy. Something that he was also known for was his addition of a second character or actor besides the chorus, which increased dialogue. Obviously, you can speak a lot more if there's another character involved, and he increased the possibilities of Greek drama through that. He was a poet and known for his lyrical language and emotional intensity that he brought through his language to the plays. So for these specific plays, the setting is General Agamemnon is returning to Greece after winning the Trojan War. It's a time of Greek mythology, it's interaction between the characters and the gods, and morals, also politics. It addresses punishment, moral responsibility, human innocence, guilt, freedom, and evil, compulsion, and all of that is shown through this trilogy, these 3 plays. A little bit about the plot action. Agamemnon was a great war king, triumphant with his prophetess, Cassandra. His wife, Clytemnestra, murders Agamemnon to avenge the death of their daughter, Iphigenia, who Agamemnon sacrifices for the sake of war. So since he sacrificed, the wife is getting back at him for that and murders him. So Clytemnestra and her lover take over the ruling of Argos, which is the place that Agamemnon was ruling at the time. So then that's kind of the first play. The second one is the women servants come to bring offerings to Agamemnon's tomb. The son of Agamemnon returns to take vengeance upon his mother and the lover because of the murder of Agamemnon. So Orestes, who is the son of Agamemnon and Clytemnestra, he reunites with Electra, who is his sister, who encourages Orestes, to murder his family, to get revenge. So when he kills them, he's at Apollo's bidding, and who is a Greek god. That's when he's kind of brought into this. And because of his guilt, he flees, pursued by female incarnations of his mother's curse. So the mother's furies, that's what the last play is about, is the mother's furies, because he has murdered his mother and her lover, and it's about his guilt and his escape from that guilt. In the third play, it starts at the shrine of Apollo in Delphi. Orestes takes sanctuary there because he fled in the second play because of his guilt, and Orestes journeys to Athens. The Furies, his mother's Furies, are his accusers, but Apollo is defending him. The Furies turn vengeance against the city because of that, and Athena persuades Apollo to bless Athens instead and reside as a kind goddess. So this ends, because the city is blessed instead, it ends the vengeance and the bloodshed cycle that is going on in this family of killing for vengeance and to get back on each other. So now I'm going to read a section of this play. I'm going to read from the second play of the trilogy, The Libation Bearers, specifically 973 to 1034. Those are the lines. Behold this pair, oppressors of the land, who murdered my father and ransacked my house. They were majestic then, when they sat on their thrones, and are lovers even now, as one may judge by what has happened to them, and their oath holds true to their pledges. Together they vowed a league of death against my unhappy father, and together they vowed to die. And they have kept their promise well. But now, regard again, you who hear this account of ills, the device for binding my unhappy father, with which his hands were manacled, his feet fettered. Spread it out. Stand out in the circle, and display the covering for a man that the Father may see, not mine, but he who surveys all this, the Son, that he may see the impious work of my own mother, that he may be my witness in court, that I justly pursued this death, my own mother's. For I do not speak of Agatha's death. He has suffered the penalty prescribed for adulterers. But she who devised this abhorrent deed against her husband, whose children she bore, a burden under her belt, a burden once dear, but now a hateful ill as it seems, what do you think of her? Had she been born a sea snake or a viper? I think her very touch without her bite would have caused anyone else to rot, if shameless and an immoral disposition could do so. What name shall I give it, however tactful I may be? A trap for a wild beast, or a shroud for a corpse in his bear, wrapped round his feet? No, rather it is a net. You might call it a hunting net, or ropes to entangle a man's feet. This would be the kind of thing a highwayman might possess, who deceives strangers and earns his living by robbery, and with this cunning snare he might kill many men and warm his own heart greatly. May such a woman not live with me in my house. Behold, that may the gods grant me to perish childless. This is the chorus. Alas, alas, sorrowful work, you were done in by a wretched death. Alas, alas, and for the survivor also suffering blossoms. Orestes again. Did she do the deed or not? No, this is my witness. Died by Agatha's sword. This is a stain of blood that helps time to soil the many tinctures of embroidered fabric. Now at last I speak his praises. Now at last I am present to lament him as I address the web that wrought my father's death. Yet I grieve for the deed and the punishment of my whole clan. My victory is an unenviable pollution. Chorus. No mortal being shall pass this life unscathed, free from all suffering to the end. Alas, alas, one tribulation comes today, another tomorrow. Orestes. But since I would have you know, for I do not know how it will end, I think I am a charioteer, driving my team far beyond the course. For my ungoverned wits are whirling me away, overmastered, and at my heart fear wishes to sing and dance of a tune of wrath. But while I am still in my senses, I proclaim to those who hold me dear and declare that not without justice did I say, slay my mother, the unclean murderess of my father, and a thing loathed by the gods. And for the spells that gave me courage for this deed, I count Loxias, the prophet of Pythos, my chief source. It was he who declared that if I did this thing, I would be acquitted of wrongdoing. But if I refrained, I will not name the penalty, for no bowshot could reach such a height of anguish. And now observe me, how armed with this branch and wreath I go as a suppliant and outcast for shedding of kindred blood to the temple set square to the womb of the earth, the precinct of Loxias, to the bright fire said to be imperishable. To no other hearth hath Loxias bid me turn. And as to the manner in which this evil deed was wrought, I charge all men of Argos in time to come bear me witness. I go forth a wanderer, estranged from this land, leaving this repute behind in life or death. So in that reading, that's the discussion. It's Orestes, and then there's the chorus interjected there, and the main idea is he's having a battle, and he's talking to the gods, and he's talking out loud and thinking through these thoughts that he is getting revenge for the murder of his father by his mother, and he killed the mother, and now he is going to flee the land because he's guilt-ridden, and although he believes that she deserved it, he is still trying to remain loyal to his family, and it's this whole moral responsibility and guilt, and if they did the right thing, it's just punishment and moral responsibility. It's about the freedom, the evil, about compassion and compulsion, all of those main ideas that are in these stories. That's kind of what is happening right there and in those lines. So that's a little bit about the trilogy of the Oresteia by Aeschylus. And if you want to check out the sources where I got a lot of this information and did some research, you can find those in the comments below.